Welcome to another video where I break down cloud and DevOps concepts. So in this particular video, we'll be looking at what exactly is the difference between a private and a public subnet. So from the architecture you can see here, we have the VPC over here, we have the availability zone, and then we have the private and the public subnet. So when you create subnet in AWS or any cloud provider, right, that you may be using, there is no difference between those subnets, even though you name them public or private, right? What exactly differentiates a public from a private subnet, all right? So let's go into it. So if we look at the private subnet we have here, or the two subnets, basically, you would see that there is a route table that we have here. So this is how it works, right? When you create a particular subnet, there is something called the internet gateway and the NAT gateway. See, this is the internet gateway over here. This is the NAT gateway over here. So any subnet, right, that is associated with a route table that routes traffic to the internet through the internet gateway is a public subnet. I will come again. Any subnet that is associated with a route table that route traffic to the internet through the internet gateway is a public subnet, right? So for the public subnet that we have here, it has a route table here, and in the configuration of this route table, it is attached, right? The route is attached to this internet gateway. So that's what makes it a public subnet. So the resources that we have here, like the load balancer, even here, the NAT gateway, we can have the load balancer, we can have NAT gateway, we can have bastion host or any other resources. Those resources have access directly to the internet, right? That's why they're in the public subnet. But for the private subnet, right? The private subnet would obviously have resources like databases, our compute, our EC2 instance, ECS, EKS, right? That we do not want we don't want users to access them directly, and at the same time we want to configure their access to the internet in a secured way, right? So what makes a subnet private is this: any subnet that is associated with a route table that route traffic to the internet through the NAT gateway is a private subnet. So in this private subnet that we have here, it has a route table, and this route table, right, is in the configuration of this route table, right? It is the route is specified, is attached to the NAT gateway, as you can see the arrows here. So what it means is that any resource in the private subnet would obviously have to go through the NAT gateway, then eventually go to the internet gateway, right, to access the internet, right? And the reason for that is that sometimes in our, for instance, EC2 instance, you would want to probably install some packages, and the source of those packages are in the internet. And because of that, you would obviously need access to the internet. But for us to be able to do that, you would have to make that access very secure, right? So that's why we have the route table. A route is open, which is to the NAT gateway, right? And obviously, it eventually route traffic eventually to the internet gateway, then to the internet, right? But it is not accessing the internet directly because we are putting a layer of security on it. So that is really the major difference between a public and a private subnet. So to wrap everything up, I will go over it again. A subnet that is associated with a route table that routes traffic to the internet through an internet gateway is a public subnet. Why? Any subnet that's associated with a route table that route traffic to the internet through a NAT gateway is a private subnet, right? So, and the internet gateway is usually attached to the VPC. As you can see here, it's attached to the VPC. So that is how it works. And that is the major difference between a private and a public subnet. Yes. So I hope I've been able to help and break down these fundamentals, right, that people actually get very confused about, but this is a breakdown of it. All right, see you in the next video. Thank you.